Hey everyone, welcome to the point of the week, and today we're going to cover how to hold serve in the ad court a little bit more easily. This is the first part in a 3-part mini series on holding serve in the ad court, and the reason I wanted to do this is because most club level players struggle a little bit more holding serve in the ad court. So this is something I've personally had a little more trouble with over the years. And I want to show you 3 tactics I've used aside from the serve and volley, which I've added to my game, but that I know that's something that not all of you have. So I wanted to show you 3 other tactics you can use to kind of match up your own strengths against the opponent's weaknesses, give that returner a different look, and hold serve more often in the ad court. To illustrate, we're going to use an example or a match from the 2022 Miami Open. This is Vera Zvonareva on the screen here, about to serve. She partnered up with Laura Siegemund, who they won the tournament in 2022. And then in this match, they play against Gabby Dabrowski and Juliana Olmos. So the first thing I want to discuss is why is the ad court a little bit more difficult to hold serve, typically at the club level. The first reason, there's really 3 reasons, but the first reason is the serve itself is just a little more awkward. So in the deuce court, you can hit kind of across your body if you're right-handed, hit it into that deep corner. It's an easy slice serve, which most 3-0, 3-5 level players and above have. Whereas the ad court, you have to kind of pronate your wrist a little bit. If you're not advanced enough to have a kick serve, then you may not have a consistent serve on that ad side. So you'll tend to get more double faults there, maybe a little bit weaker serve. The second reason that the ad court's a little more difficult is the net player, assuming they're right-handed, they have a backhand volley in the middle. So that's a little bit less comfortable volley. They're going to be a little bit more timid at the net. They might let a few balls go by them that they wouldn't if they were on the deuce side or had a forehand volley in the middle. And they'll be a little more hesitant to poach. So having that backhand volley makes it a little tougher. And then third is the server has a backhand ground stroke. So if you serve, you have to recover pretty quickly if it's a solid return. And you might end up with a backhand ground stroke, which is typically a little bit weaker shot. I return from the ad side myself, and I try to avoid my backhand ground stroke at all costs. But when serving, sometimes you can't help it. And sometimes you end up with a backhand ground stroke. So for those 3 reasons, holding serve in the ad court is a little bit more difficult. And I'm going to go ahead and play this point, and it kind of illustrates what I'm talking about. So you can see Zvonareva serves into kind of the body backhand of Gabby Dabrowski. And Dabrowski hits a solid return cross court to Zvonareva's backhand. So typically in doubles, if you have a first serve and you make a first serve, you're going to be on offense. You're going to have the advantage in the point. But immediately here, Zvonareva is on defense. She has a good backhand. She's a pro level player, but still hitting a backhand from this deep in the court, kind of on her heels, is not an ideal position to be in doubles. And if you're the serve team, you really want to avoid something like this. So this is kind of all of the reasons that I talked about why a lot of players struggle to hold serve in the ad court. And you can see she goes on to lose that point, but the key there to focus on is really those first couple of shots. You hit that serve and then you end up with a backhand ground stroke, and that's really what we want to avoid. So the first tactic I'm going to cover with you here today is simply to poach. Now, I know that sounds simple, but I'm going to cover some very specific things that the net player should focus on when poaching from the ad court. So the point we're going to use here to illustrate is Gabby Dabrowski is serving. Her partner, Juliana Olmos, is up at the net. You're going to see Olmos poach here. And Dabrowski hits a serve to the opponent's backhand. So when you're poaching from the ad side, I want you to focus on getting that first serve out to the opponent's backhand. And there's a few reasons for that. One, the backhand ground stroke or the backhand return is going to have a little bit less pace. So it's going to allow you more time as the server to get over to that down the line return and recover and kind of stay in the point. It also creates a little bit easier volley for the net player who's going to poach on this particular tactic. If the opponent has a forehand return, it's typically going to come back with more pace. It's going to be a little more difficult volley. And then the third reason is most returners in the ad court are going to have a lot more trouble hitting that backhand return down the line than they will the forehand return. Because the forehand return, they're able to hit across their body. They typically will be able to hit more topspin, so they can get it over the high part of the net and get it to dip down into the short part of the court. So I'm going to show you the point here and then talk a little bit more about what the net player should focus on and why poaching in the ad court is such a good tactic for doubles. Okay, so you could see there that Gabby had a really good first serve, so it probably didn't matter if Juliana almost poached or not here. But the thing to focus on here is that you're doing a couple of things that give you a bigger advantage than just playing regular formation and staying. So one is you're forcing a down the line return by poaching. That's the only thing you're really giving up. And when they return down the line, like I said earlier, they're going over the high part of the net, the short part of the court. As the server, you have a running forehand ground stroke, which is a lot easier for most players. And because you serve to the backhand, it's going to be a little bit slower return. And you'll probably get to force a few more errors because they're typically going to be trying to hit cross court and they might change direction down the line. Now, what if they do hit cross court? We have a problem because this net player has a backhand volley in the middle, which obviously for these pro level players is not a huge issue, but for a lot of club players at 3-0, 3-5, you might struggle with that backhand volley on the poach. So there's a few things I want you to focus on as the net player. The first thing is to read the returner. So you might want to wait a game or two before you call this poach and have your partner serve to the opponent's backhand and just kind of notice how high is the ball coming over the net, how much pace is it coming with, which part of the net is it crossing. And that way, once you do poach a game or two in, you'll know exactly the pace the ball's coming with, the direction, the height, all of that stuff. So it'll make the poach a lot easier and you'll be able to move and be ready for that volley because you'll know where it's most likely to come over the net. So that's the first thing, read the returner. When your partner's serving, you'll want to focus on the returner's body language. And as soon as they start to turn towards their backhand side, you'll know that the play is on, the poach is on, and you'll be ready to start to move. The second thing you want to do on this side is stay really close to the net. So because they're hitting a backhand return, again, it's going to have a little less pace. So you'll be able to stay really close to the net and still hit a decent volley. The mistake most players make when they're poaching, especially on this ad side, is that they're backed off the net a little bit too far and they end up hitting that backhand volley from down around their feet or their knees. And what you want to do is stay really right on top of the net so you can quickly just put the ball away. You might even hit a two-handed volley and just kind of smash it. The best place to hit this is either going to be at the opposing net player if you can, but sometimes that volley is a little bit awkward to hit kind of inside out. So another great option is to hit kind of a short angle behind the returner because your partners just hit them a backhand return, so they're probably going to be moving this way to recover, and they're going to have trouble getting back over here for any sort of short volley. But again, the key there is to really be very, very close to the net. You should be able to touch it almost with your hand if you reach out. So that way the ball has no time at all to drop. And you might even shank it off of your frame, which I do all the time. poaching from the ad side, but that's okay. It's probably going to go over the net because you're right on top of the net. And again, the last thing is where to place that volley. Again, try not to, I know hitting at the opposing net player is what a lot of coaches teach you, and it is a good tactic, but don't be afraid to hit it back behind that returner. That can be a great volley as well, and it's a little bit easier volley because you're hitting across your body like that. Hopefully this helps. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. But go out there next time you play, serving in the ad court, and call a poach. Make sure you and your partner are on the same page with all this. Make sure you're serving to the backhand, your partner's staying close to the net, and that they know their options on where to hit the volley. If you want to become a smarter doubles player and start winning more matches, then join the Tennis Tribe Doubles Strategy newsletter. Every single Thursday, I'll send you a new doubles tip or tactic that you can use in your very next match. And when you join, you're going to get a free guide on how to play with more confidence and start dominating at the net in doubles. My name's Will, I'm the founder of the Tennis Tribe, and over the last 5 years, I've worked with players at every level of the game, from USTA 3.0 players all the way to Division I college programs, as well as some of the top 10 doubles players in the world. And on Thursdays, with this strategy newsletter, I share that knowledge and advice that I've gained over the years with you. So to sign up, you can go to thetennistribe.com. And again, you'll get that free net play guide when you join.